All right, if you're a parent, I'm pretty sure you know this scene all too well. It's homework time, and you can just feel it. The battle of wills is about to begin. The excuses, the complaints, the meltdowns, it is absolutely exhausting. And it often leads us to this one very common, very frustrating conclusion about our kid. Yep, that's the one. It's the word we grab when we're at the end of our rope. But here's the thing. What if I told you that this one simple label is almost always the wrong diagnosis for what's really going on? Let's dive into this, because trust me, getting this changes everything. So here's the core idea we're going to explore, and it's a huge shift in how we see things. What we see as just pure resistance or defiance or laziness is actually a child's brain sounding a 5-alarm fire. They are feeling completely and totally overwhelmed. See, when we slap on the lazy label, our solution is naturally going to be more pressure, maybe some nagging, or just showing our frustration. But if the real problem is overwhelm, all of those things are like pouring gasoline on a fire. They just make it worse. So let's take a look at what these distress signals actually look like. I mean, look at these. They totally look like classic procrastination, don't they? But for a kid, these aren't some master manipulation tactics. They are delay behaviors triggered by real discomfort. Their brain is stressed out, and it's desperately looking for any way to get a little relief. And for a moment, avoidance feels like relief. Okay, so why does this happen? What is going on? The answer, it turns out, isn't really about their attitude. It's about their biology. To really get the why behind the behavior, we've got to take a super quick peek inside the developing brain. Okay, let's meet the star of our show, the prefrontal cortex. You can think of this part of the brain as like the CEO of a company. It's in charge of all the big picture stuff that homework demands. Planning your work, staying focused, managing frustration, and just getting started. It's the exact tool they need for the job.
So they have the right equipment for the job, right? I mean, it's right there in their head. What's the disconnect? Why can't they just use it for a simple math worksheet?
And this is the kicker. That CEO, it's really more like an intern. This part of the brain isn't fully developed, not even close, until our mid-20s. So we are basically asking a brain with a CEO in training to perform at an executive level, usually after a really long, draining day at school. They just don't have the fully developed wiring yet to manage it all without a ton of outside help. And this feeling of being overwhelmed, it's not just one thing. It's usually a mix of 3 different layers. You've got cognitive overwhelm, which just feels like, whoa, this is way too big. I don't even know where to begin. Then there's emotional overwhelm, that little voice saying, what if I get it wrong? What if I fail? And then there's just good old fatigue. Their brain is just plain tired. Any one of these is enough to make them hit a wall. So when you see it this way, it suddenly makes sense why our go-to responses, to push a little harder, to apply some pressure, can be so incredibly counterproductive. It actually creates this vicious cycle. Come on, we've all said these things, right? We mean well. We're just trying to motivate them. But to a kid's already overwhelmed brain, these phrases don't sound encouraging at all. They sound dismissive, and they just crank up that internal stress level. And here it is, the downward spiral in action. It's a vicious cycle. We apply pressure, that makes their stress go up, and ironically, when stress goes up, it makes it even harder for their prefrontal cortex to work properly, so their avoidance gets worse, which of course leads us to apply even more pressure. And around we go. The key is, we have to be the ones to break the cycle. Okay, so how do we break the cycle? How do we fix this? It's not about just giving up and letting them off the hook. It's about replacing that pressure with structure and support. So let's get into our new playbook. This is your new game plan. 5 simple, super practical steps you can start using tonight to completely transform homework time. They're all designed to lower the stress, build a little momentum, and actually teach your child the skills they need to tackle this stuff on their own down the road. All right, step 1. This is honestly the most important one, and it happens completely inside your own head. Before you even open your mouth, you change your own internal story. That one little shift from seeing them as lazy to seeing them as overwhelmed will change your tone of voice, your body language. It changes the entire feeling in the room. Okay, now for the next few steps, because they all work together so well. First, you become a detective and try to figure out the trigger. Remember those 3 layers? Is it cognitive, emotional, fatigue? Once you have a hunch, you use the first step rule. Your only goal is to make the very first step so tiny, so ridiculously easy, it's almost impossible to say no to. And that's where small language comes in. A big command like finish your worksheet is just going to shut down that developing brain. But hey, let's just solve the first 3 questions. That feels doable. It creates a small win, and that win builds momentum. And finally, step 5. This might be the single most powerful tool you have. It's all about one simple rule. Emotion first, instruction second. Before you give them any direction, you connect with how they're feeling. A simple, wow, that looks like a lot. I can see this feels really hard, just lowers their defenses. It tells them you're on their team, that you're an ally, not an adversary. And only after they feel seen and understood can their brain actually switch gears to hear whatever instruction comes next. When you put all this together, it's about a total mindset shift. You're moving from being a homework enforcer to being a homework coach. Think about it like this for a second. If you put your kid in a swimming pool for the very first time and they just clung to the side, terrified, would you stand on the deck and yell at them to stop being lazy and just swim? No way. Of course you wouldn't. You'd get in the pool with them, right? You'd hold them. You'd teach them how to kick and blow bubbles. You'd give them floaties. Well, the skills needed for homework, like organization, focus, and dealing with frustration, they have to be taught with that exact same patience and support. So if you walk away with just one thing today, let it be this. Your support is what builds their skill, and the structure you provide is what creates the emotional safety they need to even try, to sometimes fail, and to learn from it. When a kid feels safe, their behavior gets better. It really is that simple. And that's our look at this whole homework battle. So the real question is, what are you going to do now? Maybe it's just changing that one word in your head from lazy to overwhelmed. Or maybe it's breaking down just one assignment into smaller pieces. Think about it. What's the one small step you can take to start shifting from pressure to support tonight?